Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday's DOdaily, Thursday Thoughts. It's Des here, live of course, ready to answer your questions. Really looking forward to another go at that. Thanks for all the input. Really appreciate getting such good questions. Of course, yesterday I put it out there asking for the questions as I do every week, and a real good response, and some people picked up on the fact I was looking for particular questions, but they're all great. And again, we've got another great mix, so really looking forward to getting stuck into them. First of all, just let you know I'm getting on, feeling much better than I was yesterday. Really sort of back with it, been working hard today. So not been out for my activity yet, but after a rainy start this morning, really looking forward to getting out there after the video. Just going to go for a walk just to sort of clear my mind from all the busyness and things I've been doing, and hopefully settle down. And of course, we've got Wake Up to Walk in the morning, so really looking forward to that. Real great session where we're looking to get out somewhere different, somewhere new. Not quite sure where I'm going to go, but I'm going to post something this evening. Of course, it's been Mental Health Week this week, so we've been trying to do slightly different things, encourage a slight different approach to the things we've been doing. And I'll be looking to ask people if they want to join me for that walk. It'll all be socially distanced. We'll be keeping our 2 meters apart, but it's a chance to get out and really sort of feel that benefit of what I feel I've benefited so much from: getting up early, attacking the day, the fresh air, the peace and quiet, and really sort of getting involved and talking to people. I think by the things we've done this week, all I've been doing is encouraging people to get talking, to get involved. Yesterday, of course, we had the Wednesday workout. Really enjoyed looking in on that. Of course, I couldn't take part, but I enjoyed looking in. Lots of people sort of meeting up, and from the pictures I received, everybody seemed to really enjoy it. Just being together again brought out a smile, brought out the good in people, and that's what it was all about. Set various challenges this week, of course, text messaging people or calling people, and then that sort of gesture, an act of kindness. Been trying to do those myself. And the reason I say that, is because I know when you're not feeling great, if you can try and help others, it picks you up. I always say one positive action leads on to another. So I think it's a great way to approach Mental Health Week. Of course, we've been using the words this week, trying to really sort of pass on that message and try and break down those perceived barriers that sort of come with those words and the issue itself. It's important to show that we're not scared of this subject, we're not scared to approach it. I'm not scared of it. I know not everybody sees it the same, but if I can do my little bit in being honest and relatable, it's just great to talk, isn't it? I always say every week that I don't need to, I'm not the best at this, I'm not great at talking. But it's something I've developed over time, and I want to improve, and I want to get better at speaking to people, about people, offering out advice. So this is a great way for me to put myself out there. It's not easy. I always say that it really isn't easy. It's really quite tough. And I know people will look on it and go, what's he doing that for? Why is he doing that? But I'm thinking of the bigger picture here. I'm thinking of what I can do to help, and what I can do to help myself. And that's always important. It's about finding that balance about how you sort of approach it in terms of looking out for yourself, but looking out for others. And I think that's what we tried to do this week. I've encouraged you guys to get out and get active, but also to take those little steps into supporting whoever we can and whoever's dealing with things. We all like to think we're great friends, so it's just a fantastic way of showing support, by making those little gestures. But anyway, I'll come back to mental health. There's a couple of questions in there, so cracking on with the questions. First one's from Davna. Davna would like to know how I would try to encourage somebody into getting into exercise. she said that she's looking to encourage children into certain activities and facing a bit of reluctance. I think that's the norm, isn't it, Davna? You know, I wish I did some of the things I do now as a teenager. I wish I appreciated it the same, particularly the running. You know, I wish I'd have got into it a lot sooner. But I think that the first thing that you have to do with anything, if somebody is reluctant, of course, it offers so much benefit these days, much more than just being physically fit, as we've just been speaking about, is to find a way of relating whatever activity it is into something they enjoy. Do you know, I run a lot of, when I started running and started creating events and charity events, I always find a way of relating it into football. Football is my first love, you know, it's the thing I really enjoy. I'm a massive football fan. So if I could relate running in particular into football somehow, and I've managed to create a couple of events that do that, it's just a perfect way. And then it's about encouraging other people to join who've got that shared passion as well. So, and I was trying to think of other examples before I came on today, and I was thinking, for example, if somebody likes Harry Potter, for example, and there was a walking tour at Harry Potter World or a running event that related into that in some way, do you know, that could be a way to encourage somebody to start in that activity. And of course, it's the hardest bit is those first steps. So I think finding something that's fun and quirky and encouraging, you know, there's other ways you could possibly do that. Set some targets, you know, perhaps incentivize those, you know. So if somebody does it and gets involved, I like to use that through some of the running clubs. I like to use the incentive scheme. You see at a park run, if you do 50 park runs, you get a 50 t-shirt and 100, you know, and it's just a way of building targets in your mind. You know, as children, sometimes we love little targets and build, as adults we do, but we love to sort of build towards those and then get rewarded for it. So I think that's a great way as well. You know, it could be not necessarily a t-shirt, it could be a new clothes, new trainers, anything like that. Just it could just be a way of getting them into an activity. Of course, there's lots of different activities you can get involved in, and even something like walking, you know, just find ways of taking the emphasis off the walking. I always speak about this part of what I do. I said yesterday, we're always thinking about mental health, even when it's not mental health week. But what we try and do is just take the emphasis off the actual exercise, all the mental health, and talk about one or the other, just to encourage both. And I think it's really important to be a bit, to think outside the box a little bit. You know, the thought of running, the thought of climbing or dancing or whatever it might be, you know, can be scary to the best of us if we can't do it. But there's just a few little things there. Like I say, find a quick way to sort of relate it into something else, perhaps incentivize it, or perhaps get somebody involved in a target, you know, or look to sort of encourage them that way. So hopefully that answers that. Davna also followed that up by saying a teenage son is showing an interest in sprinting. Is there any, and she'd like to really encourage that. I think it's a great thing to encourage, you know. Of course, I'm no sprinter myself, but I like my long distance stuff. But if a son is interested in that, it's a great way to get into running, you know, and still get all those benefits. And we all know sprinters are super fit. So, and she's saying, is there any suggestions of clubs or groups? Well, yeah, there's lots of local athletics clubs. Whilst do run is not quite that, we like to sort of focus a bit more on the people within the group and the spirit and the community aspect of what we do. There's lots of local athletics clubs. I'll try and post some in the comments, Davna. I know of one or two, and there's one or two I personally recommend. It would be great if you could try out those, or you could take him along. I know they do great work, particularly with children, and particularly with developing children into all-round athletes and getting them really sort of focused and driven into what they're doing. Like I say, we've got a different kind of approach here, but I think there's room for everybody to take part, and be part of different kind of running groups. So like I say, I'll post them up at the end. The next question is from Dawn. She's asking, do I have any tips or ideas on how we're going to get through a dark lockdown period? Thanks for the question, Dawn. Again, yesterday when I was suggesting possible questions, this was one of those. I can completely understand the concern with all this. I've been speaking all week that where we're based here in Nottingham, potentially we'll be in a local lockdown next week. And of course, within the next couple of weeks, the clocks are going to change. We'll be on winter time. So it's a scary thought, but giving it a bit of thought today, I was thinking we have to adapt every year. We have to make this change from summer to winter. And of course, we've had a lot more restrictions, but if we take it sort of in the cold light of day, winter's always a difficult changeover period. Well, can often be a difficult changeover period for some. So it's just about adapting what you do. Firstly, I'll try and relate this into activity to try and give it some sort of perspective. Basically, one positive we could take from this, a lot of us now find ourselves working from home or working a bit more flexibly sorry, getting tongue-tied, working in more flexible conditions. So if, for example, I was talking to Kay about this, and she says what she might do is in the evening when she's been going for a run, she doesn't like going for a run in the dark. So what she might do is like put that in the middle of the day and then plan to work later into the evening, just to cover that time. Whilst we don't want to be working sort of all around the clock, it's just a great way to sort of still get out there in the light, still benefit from that. I know personally it can be really tough during the dark winter months, to get motivated, to get out there. I keep saying we'll find ways of sort of encouraging that. But I thought that was a great idea from Kay. I thought that was a great sort of tip, is to use an extended lunch break, I guess. We don't do quite as much over the winter period anyway. So I think the first thing we've got to do is not to be too concerned. We can still do all the basics. We can still do all the things we've done through the summer. I was actually thinking it might be a little bit easier than we think. It might be, we don't tend to do as many activities at night. Whilst of course we encourage, sorry, I'm getting bombarded with calls and things. It's really distracting.
When the rain is blowing in your face, and
I don't know why that's
I can offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening
I've no idea why Adele is coming out of my laptop.
and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years.
Oh my God.
To make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met. No doubt in my mind where you belong.
Oh my God.
I go hungry, I go black.
Oh my God. How unprofessional. Anyway, for the 4 people watching, technology, it's always letting you down. Anyway, I'll get back to the point there. Getting through lockdown in the dark, it's going to be really, really tough. It's gonna be difficult, but I think it's worth just bearing in mind that we all do approach it that little bit differently than we would normally would. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Dawn. I knew you'd be the first one to comment. I didn't enjoy it. It was all a little bit embarrassing, but there you go. It just proves again that it's live. And it's about cheering people up as well. So there you go. A bit of a nice song there. Yeah. So when it's dark, it's just key to just remember that we have to adapt every year. Do you know, lockdown's going to be tough. Do you know, the most worrying aspect of it for me is the fact that we have to keep going back to where we was. We all want to progress. We all want to keep moving forward. So I just think if you approach it in the same way you'd approach it every year, like say when it comes to activity or things you can do during the day, it's really important to get that activity in still, whether it is running or walking or whatever. Is perhaps try and use early mornings or midday around lunchtime, you know, and separate your day up if that's possible. Of course, not everybody will be able to do that, but if you can get out in sort of safer areas to do your activities, you know, street lights, or built-up areas, or if there is any groups about, that's a fantastic way. And again, lockdown is going to sort of restrict that somewhat, but I'm sure there'll be lots of encouragement still to take part in activity and take it forward from there. I'm still reeling from that song. The next question is basically from somebody asking if you're not open about your relationship with mental health and the struggles you have due to the perceived stigma, how would I encourage them to engage and realise that talking is actually good? Well, like I said before, the thing about this and talking about mental health, and there is a stigma there still, I think that whilst the stigma remains, it relates to their situation. For example, you see a lot of famous people that I've not seen it myself yet, but this week I've heard about a documentary with Andrew Flintoff, talking about his battles with bulimia. And he's got so much praise for doing it. People are saying it's so honest, it's so relatable, they can really understand exactly what I'm trying to do through DOdaily. Of course, I'm encouraging people to listen to me. I get it wrong, as you've just seen. Do you know, I'm no expert in any of this, the talking side, the technical side, or anything like that. But it's key just to listen, you know, to take all that advice on board. And understand that when people do it, when people do talk openly about what they're doing, they actually come out with a lot of praise. Whenever somebody famous does it, people start to really relate to that person, really understand what they've gone through, and really sort of take on board what they say. It takes famous people sometimes to do that. You know, we can all be quickly offended by famous people. Of course, like I say, like I just said there, I'm trying to do it on a personable and relatable level. You know, try and be honest, show you where I get it wrong, show you when I get it right. And it's just a case of like I say, understanding that sometimes what's the worst that can happen? You're only talking. I want to be a better talker. I want to be better at what I do. And we all experience difficulties and mishaps along the way, as it proves. But it's important to understand that nobody's, even in this day and age, even with perceived barriers, even with stigma attached to it, I don't think when somebody does actually talk, people do actually sort of think any different of them. You know, the biggest problem is I used to be somebody who never spoke, never talked to anybody. And the biggest thing is just getting it out there. Do you know, I was talking yesterday about a completely different subject, but I found a way of, when I needed to talk about difficult situations to somebody, it's just spitting out a difficult word like, I've got something to tell you. Do you know, and as soon as I've said that, that person's going to come back to me and demand to be told what I've got to tell them. I've found myself in that situation a few times, and it took me a while to get the rest of it out. But like I say, then that person knows that you've got something to say. And it's like what I say about talking about challenges and posting up things on social media. Once it's out there, I feel I have to do it. So by just blurting out those words, by saying it, of course, finding the right person to do that to is really difficult. But there are lots of people out there. Like I say, I get lots of people sort of come to me on a daily basis, sending me messages saying how this worked or this didn't, or asking my advice. And that's what this is all about. So it's really important to remember that whilst there is a perceived barrier, it may be becoming more of a case of it just being perceived. It's once you've said it, once you've took action against what you need to do, sometimes it's a weight off your shoulders. For example, if you've ever handed your notice in, you might hand it in, and it feels worrying if you've not got anywhere to go. But then all of a sudden there's this massive weight off your shoulder. I've been in situations where I've been in the wrong relationships, sort of friendship relationships and girlfriends and things like that. And then once it's finished, as upsetting as it is, and once you've got it all out and said what you've had to say, it becomes a lot easier. It's still not easy, it's still not nice, but it's like a weight off your shoulders. And sometimes I feel that's the best thing I can do. When things happen, when I make mistakes, I like to think I'm humble enough to say sorry, I move forward, and I have made mistakes, been no angel in my life, and sometimes it takes sort of feeling that low to sort of feel the highs again and feel positive about what you're doing. And I think that's really important to remember. You see often on these social media statuses where it says things like it takes being the most broken to be the most happy and things like that. I can't remember them exactly, but I think they're really true, aren't they? And as long as you remember where you were when you get better or when you're starting to improve, and I'd like to think that's kind of somewhere I am, it makes such a difference to things going forward and the way your sort of outlook is on things. And the more people you talk to, I can assure you, the more people, the more you'll get confident and believe that people are there to help. Of course, there's one or two who are going to knock you back, but I always talk about almost leaving those negative people behind. It's not nice, it's not a nice thought, but the best thing you can do is remove yourself from those negative situations. Social media is not always great for that, particularly something like Twitter. Don't get involved in any of the comments. Don't get involved in all the negative things that are happening. It's important to sort of surround yourself with that positivity, and quickly you'll realise that there is people there who totally understand and who can totally help what's going on. Of course, get those benefits from activity, clear your mind out and think about how you approach it next. And I think hopefully that sort of answers that question. Of course, it's tricky sometimes to answer it, but I appreciate why people need to be anonymous, but it's really important just to sort of remember that everybody is there to help. And as tends to be the case with this, Simon Morgan likes to throw in a bit of a light-hearted question, which is always appreciated. I love getting those. Like I always say, I'll answer anything, within reason. But Simon likes to sort of throw one in there. And his question this week is, do you have a movie that has had and perhaps still continues to have a big inspirational effect on you personally? And I'm not going to answer that this week. I'll answer that next week because I'm going to use that as this week's throwback question. So which movie do you revert back to? Simon's choice is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. This is when he needs a soft reset, when he needs to recharge his batteries and he's had a tough day, likes to lay back on the sofa and watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and let everything disappear before sort of going again. So which is your favourite movie, the one that really inspires you. I'll answer it as well next week. But I thought that'd be a nice light-hearted way to throw the questions back, to throw a question back at you and to keep you sort of engaged in what we're doing. So hopefully there was some good information there. There was lots of hiccups along the way. I apologise for those, but it's just the way it is. I'll keep trying to be better, keep moving forward, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about just trying to be that little bit better, not for anybody else, for ourselves, trying to improve on the things we do. Make sure you close all your apps down when you do a live video. You know, it doesn't matter, does it? If I was trying to do this for the wrong reasons and trying to be too professional, then I'd be absolutely devastated. But it adds something to it, and that's just a bit of a metaphor I'm trying to say for taking all these situations into everyday life. You know, it's just about finding a fun and quirky way to approach things, not getting too involved in the negative stuff, surrounding yourself with positive people who want to take positive actions, even within the activity circle sort of I surround myself with. There's still people who are a lot more driven and a lot more determined to be better than others, you know, and it's just about using them people. I get great support, and I'm really, really inspired by many of those that sort of offer that. So hopefully that's give you a bit of an insight into what I'm thinking around sort of Mental Health Week and what we're doing. Like I say, if you can join us tomorrow, look out for that closed Facebook event I'm going to post up. It'd be great to have a few people sort of on board, like I say, really enjoying the benefits of getting up early and attacking the day. And it's possibly the last chance we'll get to do it for a while. So I think it'll be a fantastic way to finish Mental Health Awareness Week through DOdaily. You know, it's of course taking in that activity as well. So those have been the two sort of driving factors this week, is keeping people active, keeping people getting those benefits and getting on top of our own mental health. Thanks for watching, guys. Once again, apologies for the song midway through. I can't believe that. But for now, I'm going to get off. I'm going to go for that walk. It is still light, so I've got about half an hour, I think, before it gets dark. It's really important for me to get out, clear my mind from all that, and look forward to tomorrow and the weekend ahead. If you like the video, probably laugh at the video, please give it a like and share, and I promise it won't always be interrupted like that. Just doing it.